I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching Bocchi The Rock, Season 1, Episode 9. Last episode was my favorite episode of the show. Period.
It was End
great.
of discussion. No discussion.
Honestly, no discussion. It was my favorite episode of the show so far. I love this show, though. Every episode's great.
I mean, the ending for last episode, I think that it might be everyone's favorite episode, at least once they get to this part.
Yeah, I don't know. Not just the ending for me, though. Like, the entire episode, the performance. Like, it was fantastic. The pacing was great. The animation was great. The comedy was great. I don't know. I love it. I love Bocchi The Rock. Love it.
The title of the show was said in the episode.
Yeah.
They had me tearing up.
I cannot wait. It's bittersweet in thinking about finishing this series at some point, because on one hand, I really want to finish the series so then I can start looking at like artwork or stuff so I can get some Bocchi The Rock merch. Yeah. But I don't want it to end because then I'll have no Bocchi The Rock content to watch.
In terms of like how to end Bocchi The Rock, if it is like a 12 episode situation, then
Probably.
Then we already had our concert that we were kind of trying to sell tickets for. We had a few episodes ramping up for that concert. We had to come up with songs for that concert, for said concert. What is the event or the goalpost that we're trying to get to narratively for an end of this season?
Good question.
Is it all for Bocchi Hiyori for Hitori herself?
I don't know. It's an interesting question because usually what other shows have we watched that only have 12 episodes? I know they exist because Yamada-kun. I watched 12 episodes.
Lately it's like 12 episodes, but then you get a second part. Like lately, that's how when we've been watching 12 episode content, there's been another 12 episodes that are going to be
But that's usually
soon.
Like more action based. Like in our like personal lives off the channel, the little anime that I have seen is more like slice of life or romance in the past like 6 months, and a lot of them are 12 episodes
12 to 13.
And I would assume that this would probably follow suit. And if that's the case, I'd assume that either something would be brought up in the next episode or two to set us up for like a good finale, or by the nature of the show it wouldn't necessarily have to be a big blowout, you know?
Right, it could more be the character herself realizing. We have her discussing internally a lot about whether or not she's grown. And so it could be in more of an inner reflection to end off with, of actually truly acknowledging and embracing how much she's grown.
Or uploading a video of the band playing on Guitar Hero. That'd be
Good
crazy.
Guess. I like that.
All right, you ready? Sweet.
Yes!
When she said 4-member concert, that made me worried that we're supposed to be getting another member. Her little sister loves her so much. Wants to be in her room.
Another fulfilling day. Aww. Why can't you initiate
how hard
plans?
Was it to clear schedule? You mentally cleared your schedule. I get you.
And nobody responds well. Oh, true.
That's the issue. Then you'll spend the whole time wondering if they're having fun.
Oh, look at the reflection. Looks like the shot from Interstellar.
Is that like the type of homework where you have to say like what you did every day of summer vacation? What an aura. Scaring off customers.
Last day.
Manager's a real one. She understands. So I can't stay home practicing like her. Sweat.
Oh my god.
That's fair.
Life can easily get in the way. It's fair. I sympathize with Rio. Beach episode?
I wonder what would have happened if Kita invited Bocchi to be with her friends. That's not true.
Credits.
Is it
roll.
like one of those movies she doesn't like?
Like how
Kidnapping.
Little Ghost has the thing. Don't say culture festivals around Bocchi.
Rio's... What is Rio? I can't gauge. I can't. The type that bombs but might actually be really smart. Just doesn't try and apply themselves.
That sounds about right. There's only so much space.
Priorities. Is that the goal for the end of the season?
Looks so good. Rio has the best outfit too.
Honestly, kind of matching with Kita. Kita might have done it on purpose. They kind of look like they're on a beach date. I like it.
The wind is the best part. Similar glasses.
Too powerful for even them to handle. What is that? Press the taco.
Nice. Oh, that sounds amazing.
Nice snack. The selfie stick.
I love the octopuses because of takoyaki.
Cute. Bocchi didn't make a weird face.
Like that's the bar.
They literally just got here. Just see off the glasses.
Now, what do you think is around Rio's neck? Do you think it's like a gold circle or do you think it's a zip tie that's yellow? Worth it. Barter.
That's why you were having trouble climbing the stairs. We paid for Rio. Did you ever pay Bocchi back for... Well, she needs food to eat.
They're bonding.
Tropical love. Oh no! Oh, love ruins everything.
I like that everyone other than Kita has their own like limits for the physicality, and they're basking in it because this is big to them.
That's what Bocchi was worried about, inviting everyone to do something and them complaining about it. The first soft serve was Ryo's only money that Ryo brought.
I thought we were gonna fly kites. I am so stupid.
I didn't know it was a bird. But she doesn't have any more food!
Oh my god. It's the Yamcha pose. Oh my god.
Is that a Dragon Ball reference?
No. Jesus Christ, you can't catch a break. In theme. I love that Nijiko, when she looked at Bocchi, she was so calm in her wish.
Aw.
Ryo keeps almost falling asleep.
Full stomach does that. And hearing that they also wish they could have done more.
Yes. I love that it's canonical, you know? Oh.
Will it really? Yeah, we woke up for school. I understand that feeling.
Oh my god.
Nightmare fuel.
Oh.
Their school festival!
Stage performers wanted.
That could be great for Bocchi! At her school?
Yeah.
Performing at her school?
Whoa. Look at this outro. The outros of Bocchi The Rock are phenomenal. Okay, that was Bocchi The Rock, Season 1, Episode 9. That was a beach episode with very little beach, and I loved it.
I'm always happy when there's, sick days, beach days, even like the amusement park days, school festival days, nudge, nudge, school festival. We will possibly be getting one of my favorite things to see in a school-centered young person slice of life coming of age story?
I feel like I haven't watched many anime that have school festivals.
I've watched too many.
Yeah.
It's like I would say most romance anime is centered around a high school romance. There aren't many like josei that are an older couple in the workplace. There's a few. There's a handful of them, but I would say a lot of the romance anime I've seen take place in a high school setting, and using the school festival is always like a real pivotal moment.
What is it usually like? Is it for typical like romance blossoming?
It's for wanting to go to the haunted attraction together, and then something going terribly wrong in there. Your plan to maybe like act like you're scared so you can maybe like hold on to them or get your hand held doesn't really go to plan. You're hoping that you can spend the whole day with them and there be like an excuse to be doing so. There's always like a lot of different ways that it's used. So I love it.
So like
in preparation, you grow closer with the love interest. Like in preparing for the school festival, you grow closer. Working on whatever your class is doing together.
So the only thing I can really have to compare to that in my own life's like a field day, but there's not really prep that goes into that.
No,
it's more like a
adults
field trip.
do the prep for field day.
But like the idea of having this event with the people that you're at school with that isn't just mundane class, so you have more freedom to interact with each other, and I guess I could see that that's where like love would blossom, right? I wonder what this will mean for Bocchi though.
Well, I don't think tropical love will. I mean, tropical love didn't want to blossom, but maybe school love will want to blossom.
So if Bocchi does go forward with this idea like that they give us about playing in front of the school or for the school, how the hell is that going to come to be?
I think that
Kita?
Right. I mean, Kita's the one that we saw looking at the poster. Kita is the one that brought up about enjoying their school festival at her and Bocchi's school, and that introduces the idea of Rio and Nijika coming to their school festival. I would
need them too.
And I think that if we talked before starting this episode about what type of event we could do now that we've already done the concert that we had to sell tickets for. And I think this brings us back to the like roots foundation of Bocchi's first attempts at the beginning of this series to reach out indirectly to the people in her class by, she dressed a purposeful way. Yeah. She brought her guitar with her in hopes that someone would reach out to her, or someone would comment or see her band bracelets and be like, you like that music too. And she was hoping to be noticed for something that she's proud of and that she's interested in, and that someone else would come to her. Yeah. And yes, we get that with Kita, but I think that this brings us like a chance for Bocchi to actually, instead of running away from an interaction with her two classmates where they're like so impressed or shocked that they talked to the elusive Bocchi and that she actually responded to them, that, we get to see that again, but we get to see it, how much Bocchi's grown through seeing that again.
Yeah, I think that there might be like limited growth limited showing of that growth in between like other friends or like other potential friends. Because it's like, okay, we're like, if I'm going to assume that it's going to end up happening, right? But if people come up to Bocchi and they're like, oh my God, you're so good at playing guitar, you did so well, like, that's not, like, that's great. And I love that. And I want that to happen for Bocchi. But I think like the real progress there is like internal. And like what I would like seeing is like her feeling confident or getting herself to do it and then feeling proud of herself for doing it. Like regardless.
It's not like it's an immediate like now Bocchi has a bunch of friends and is able to talk to people in the classroom every day. Yeah. Like that's obviously not going to be it. I think something that we can latch on to as maybe a first example of what could be to come, or what interaction she could be having with her classmates
Yeah.
is those two girls that she met when she was performing on the street that came to the concert. And her ability to create a relationship with them where they wanted to come support her and be her fans.
Yeah.
That those were two girls that had never seen her before. They just saw her performing on a street and were able to see her passion and see her love for her music and be so enthralled with it and so interested in it that they decided to go to this random concert during a typhoon.
Yeah.
And so I feel like Bocchi's classmates seeing that will be really awesome. And so we've already seen like a little bit of what is total complete stranger we'll see in response to Bocchi when she's in her element. And now we'll get to see what her classmates who have gone school years being beside her but not knowing anything about her or ever getting to talk to her, seeing a glimpse of what she's like.
I think that that's going to be what we like alluded to in the intro, though, like what could be a season finale. This would be massive to be doing at her own school.
It's like she's opening herself up in a different way. Like it doesn't need to have any confirmation of what that would do in the long run of like, oh look, now she's being surrounded by different classmates and they're like, oh wow, like we want to be your friend. Like that's not what is necessary. What's necessary is for Bocchi to get herself to do it, to go on stage and to show her classmates her passion, her enthusiasm, her band, herself a little bit, open herself up to them like that, and for her classmates to be like, whoa.
Well, you don't think it would be a band thing, right? Like I'd assume it would be like not, oh, Kesoku is like playing at this thing.
It would just be Kita and Bocchi?
Or just Bocchi, or like a different group of people that's like doing like a performance, or like just like a solo thing, like a talent show that multiple people are trying, or something just between Kita and Bocchi. Would you let in like other students from another school? Then that might be
why we had a distinction between a strict school and a more liberal school.
Yeah.
That it is possible that at a more strict school you wouldn't. If there was a band, you would be like, well, are all of the are all of the members of the band members of the school?
True.
Like people that go to the school. But we do get a distinction that Bocchi and Kita's school is a little more lax,
liberal,
a little more casual. I don't know exactly what a more liberal Japanese school would necessarily be.
I mean, the opposite of strict, right? Because of the context given. Can
they dye their hair? Is Bocchi's hair really actually pink? I don't know.
Definitely. 100%.
But I think since we get that distinction between the two schools, that's what I can latch onto, that they would be willing to have outside students come in. Also, Kita's aura is very I think Kita could convince anybody. Them. Yeah.
Kita has like in like your skill tree where you put attributes, her charisma is all been like maxed out.
Is Kita like a bard?
I don't know. But so in a couple of things that I noticed that I wrote down this episode, one of them, I'm sure this has happened in other anime we've watched, but I guess this is my first time noticing it, and I am curious on like the production side of things, what you do. So in the shot that I have pulled up right now, you can see the t-shirt that Bocchi's wearing. She's worn it like previously a bunch of times, and I love it. Namore Gakko or something along the lines of that, right? But in like similar in scenes where it's a little looser or closer and like more doodly, it's written in
Japanese
kana, right? Yeah. And I wonder like, so like I'd assume that it's animated in English like letters, and that's how, like, it's not like they changed it for the subtitled version of things, right? But I think that it's such an awesome idea that like the looseness lets itself just change the writing language for how it's spelled out. I love it.
They definitely take creative liberties with the show in terms of doing funky and interesting, like
So I want to talk about the black hole. So
we have to talk about the black hole.
Yeah. So, have you ever seen the movie Interstellar?
No.
I don't think I'm gonna risk or touch on anything spoilery in case we ever want to watch it on the channel, because I love that movie.
Is that the one with Chris Pratt?
No.
Oh. Wasn't there a space movie with Chris Pratt
I think that was
recently?
Passengers or something along the lines of that. And I'm very
Jennifer
glad.
Lawrence.
Yeah, but this was not Chris Pratt.
So it's very different than... Okay.
Yes. What that movie does share with the show, though, is the score is incredible. But back to what I wanted to say, the black hole, right?
Mm-hmm.
So wouldn't you say that it's like too perfect almost? It's perfectly symmetrical in its own right, and the colors that are about it seem so like, I don't know, like very symmetrical. I think is a pretty good word, right?
Yeah.
Like you'd imagine this is like, oh, a perfect artist's impression of a black hole, right?
It's very balanced. It's very...
Now, the coolest part about this is that this reminds me of Interstellar because it's extremely similar from my recollection of what a black hole would look like in that movie. It's about space, therefore Interstellar. Now,
therefore black holes.
In the creation of what the visual representation of a black hole looks like in the movie Interstellar, how it came to be is that the VFX artists created a new way of interpreting CG and coming up with designs for it by inputting proven theoretical equations that they've like that are actually scientifically proven to be theoretically true and accurate into a rendering software that produced an image very close to this. Like it's naturally, this is what it would look like if we could visualize it in our light spectrum. And isn't that fucking insane that it looks so like perfect and symmetrical, and that's theoretically what it should look like?
I like that the words you're using and the story you're telling. I like that in addition to the dialogue that's on the screen at the same time that the rendition of the black hole is being shown. We have like dialogue that is the black holes theorized.
Yeah.
You know, and we get that idea like this depiction is also like a theorized depiction of what if we could see it exactly how it would be seen, then that would be what it would look like. And then at the bottom it says artist's impression of a black hole drawing in matter.
Yeah. I think that it's so the VFX industry is so amazing, and like in the same sense of like what we appreciate about Bocchi The Rock, the mixed media, the animation, just the details of expression. At one point in the episode, you could see shadows where Kita's shoulders dips. Mm-hmm. Like everything about that you can. It's not just this industry, right? Like the creation of going that far in producing what a black hole would actually look like for a movie is so beautiful and so cool to me. I love it.
The extra attempt to make something look as real and polished as possible, as close to reality as you possibly even humanly could get.
It's like get your facts correct and then distort them and play with them. Yeah. I love it. I also love the addition that Bocchi apparently was trying to teach her little sister how to play guitar, and she was like, it was so much fun and it was so cool, but I couldn't be inside every single day playing guitar every day.
I had
nonstop.
Too many friends to play with. I love that Bocchi, I love that Bocchi's summer break and how that was spent. Like, yes, it's initially told to us by, we start the episode and we have the mom opening the window and we have Bocchi kind of trying to figure out if she's going to send a text message and plan anything. And then to use her little sister, Futari, through this probably a school homework of having to write and draw what you did every single day of your break, like a journal project, using that to show us and make it feel even worse. I'd be like, oh, that's uncomfortable to be hearing this, which mirrors the uncomfortability of how manager experienced what Bocchi was going through for her break.
God, I love it. I love the way of information being revealed that Bocchi has cleared her schedule to the rest of the band. So, okay.
There's a difference. Even if she didn't have anything going on, she had mentally also cleared her schedule.
One of the things I adored in the episode is how consistent they kept well, in the show, the continuity of things like Bocchi falling asleep, being unconscious, but how consistent they keep, like, each individual character and how they're interacting with each other. And so, like, I could imagine that this could have went down like the same build up to the start of the episode of them going on an adventure and them just having fun the entire day with no difference in character. Mm-hmm. But the idea specifically shown through Kita of like, oh, I'm enjoying what you guys are missing this. Oh, AC's your favorite part of this. Like, oh, look at the view, you know, and there being that difference. Like, that's the whole reason that they haven't really been hanging out. They have their own lives and they're busy with people. And like Kita, she usually hangs out with other people. And it really feels like a band is hanging out who don't always hang out with each other by all of the details that they put into the episode. Like, it feels so cool.
We know that Nijika and Rio are already pre-established friends and have a relationship and they go to school together, but even they have not hung out together outside of work during break. Yeah. Because, you know, both of them have been doing their own thing. Like, Rio is just kind of a loner and, like, wants to be and likes doing things in whatever she wants to do, following her whims and going shopping and eating yummy food. And Nijika is at home, you know, she's taking care of the house. Her sister works hard with the business. She works hard helping out with the business. This is like her dream to be a part of this with her sister. And then obviously Kita already had pre-established friendships before coming into this. When we first become a band, there are lines of dialogue about what sort of relationships you can have with bandmates. Like, are they your family? Are they friends? Are they just people that you see when you come to practice and that what you have in common and the relationship you have with them is just bandmates? Like, what type of relationship is Keisuku Band supposed to have or going to have? Are they going to be more like a family? Because families can love being together, but not necessarily, like, join in all of the same activities or want to join in all the same activities. Yeah. Like, I'm sure Kita and Kita's friends, the people that Kita chooses to hang out with every single day, they probably like doing most, if not all, of the same stuff together.
One of the things that they do in this show that I'm, like, envious of in my personal life, and it's probably just because of my own, like, social inability, right? But, like, as 4 people and individuals, they have such a great relationship. But within those 4 people hanging out, there's begun such a growth between duos, like, and duos mixing, whether it's like Bocchi and Nijika or Bocchi and Kita, or I don't know if it's my favorite because I love Rio or it's the best one in the anime, but Bocchi and Rio. Like, I love that, like, they all have their own individual, different, unique friendships. And I wish that I was better at that in my friendships. And, like, I had, like, a one-on-one, like, dichotomy
that
with,
it could be, like, strong as a group, yes, but that you wouldn't feel uncomfortable hanging out one-on-one with any of them. Yeah. When we see Bocchi's first one-on-one with anyone hanging out was Rio. At the restaurant when Bocchi paid for the food that still hasn't got paid back for it.
If you don't count Nijika.
Well, yes, yeah. Bocchi counted going and being with Rio in that setting as, like, oh my god, I'm one-on-one with someone right now. And that was, like, a source of anxiety and how am I supposed to deal with this, like, new kind of challenge line. Yeah. Something else I really appreciated for this interaction and for all these different personalities, like, we are this spectrum of, like, it's not as simple as introvert to extrovert spectrum. And what I really appreciated is once we got to the top of the tower, 3 of them are exhausted. And there's literally, like, everyone has their limits. And even someone who is more extroverted and active and friendly, like Nijika, is still going to get tired, you know, or still be complaining about something, or still have their limits of what activity and excitement they can take or stimulation they can take.
Yeah. I'm gonna tiptoe around it, but for a sake of something. But so we don't read we can't read like every comment because of risk of spoilers, so we're sent by moderators comments that we're able to read that don't have any risk of spoilers in them sometimes. And I need, if anybody is still listening or watching, please, I need to know if in the manga, if there is a manga, I'd assume there's a manga for Bocchi the Rock, if the Yamcha like scene and like it like thing was in there. I need to know if it was also in like the drawn medium that isn't animation, just for my own personal like.
What is Yamcha?
I think that's a great question.
Oh, is that a spoiler for me to possibly know the answer to that? Is that why we're tiptoeing?
Yeah.
Okay. I won't ask any more questions then.
Yeah, just saving it, you know. I think it's interesting though that like I can't believe it. The amount of disrespect.
That was so disrespectful, and I don't even know what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, that's all I have you.
I think so. I think in the episode I definitely touched on the relatability of Bocchi just deciding to wait for someone else to act, and also that reinforcement, what we see of Kita going through exactly what Bocchi was afraid of, which was the idea that you are the one that plans something or initiates something, and then other people are complaining about it or not as into it as you are. But the difference is Kita wasn't worried about that. Kita was just trying to have fun with everyone.
I also love the difference in like, oh, Nijika's like, oh yeah, aren't we about done here? And like Kita's like, oh no, I could keep going, and Bocchi's like, oh, I could keep going. Like they're like each one of them have their own individual wants and expressions, and I like how it's voiced.
And you also like to talk about canon. You were saying canon a few times for this episode. Well, it's very canon. Bocchi's wish at the shrine fits exactly the embarrassment Bocchi had upon letting anyone know what her dream was. Like when she spoke to Kita, when Kita first rejoined the band and she heard what Kita's dream was, and Bocchi was like, mine's world peace.
Yeah.
You know, so very in theme, very canon Bocchi.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.